Hi, ladies.
Hi.
We'll wait another minute or so just to see if anybody else jumps on.
Okay.
All right. We have one person. It looks like she might be having trouble with the audio. Trying to give her a little help here before we get started. Lori, are you able to hear me? All right. I'm not sure if Lori is able to hear me, but I am going to go ahead and get started. I'm recording this, so if either of you want a recording, and I can always send it on to Lori if she's not able to hear me right now, so just let me know. But I've spoken with both of you before. My name is Dory Martin. It's nice to see you all today. I usually keep these about 15 minutes or so, pretty brief. I go through a short PowerPoint, talk about some of the things that are available on Show Me Child Care resources, and then we'll get onto the site just to see where to access the things that I talk about. So I'll go ahead and share my screen with you. We'll start the slideshow. So today we are talking about the tools and materials that are available on Show Me Child Care resources in regards to like professional development and goal setting and performance reviews. So as far as professional development goes, I know right now it's kind of wonky. There's not a ton of face-to-face trainings happening, but just on this page, I go through some of the different kinds of professional development opportunities. So trainings, whether they be face-to-face or online on demand. And I'm assuming both of you are aware of the Missouri Workshop Calendar and how to access that. And then also professional development by way of earning credentials and degrees. So for instance, our organization offers like the CDA program, as well as the TEACH program for childcare educators or administrators who are wanting to get their CDA credential or earn their associate's, bachelor's, and I believe we're looking towards a master's degree program for TEACH. And then obviously personal and professional growth opportunities. So not necessarily something that focuses on early childhood, but leadership development, business development, that kind of thing. And then as far as accountability goes and how to kind of stay on track with setting goals and professional development needs, having check-ins with staff members or with your mentor or supervisor on a regular basis, just to make sure that those goals are being worked towards and being accomplished. Sharing resources within your program between childcare educators or between assistant directors and directors, just to kind of not reinvent the wheel, get resources out there so that everyone can benefit. And then offering team building opportunities, whether it be professional team building opportunities or like personal connecting with staff members so that you can come together and kind of develop your team. All right. And so then in performance reviews, With this kind of situation, it's always good to think about that not everyone feels comfortable in a performance appraisal setting. Some people feel stressed or anxious. So deciding what format you want to use for your staff is always important, whether it be like a combination of a self-evaluation and a supervisor evaluation, or strictly supervisor guided, and then making sure staff understand the expectations for them, whether you're going to be doing some kind of observation or a regular observation, and then what they need to do or complete on their end. And then having not just a generic performance review, but really personalizing it to that staff member and what their role is in your program. And obviously giving sufficient notice so no one's caught up. Okay, so in Show Me Child Care Resources, there are specific templates for goal setting and professional development accomplishment type things, but then there's also different templates for different positions based in childcare for performance reviews. So on this slide, I kind of give you the breadcrumbs you need in order to reach these resources. So we'll go ahead and get into the site so that you can see where you can access that. All right, so when you're on Show Me Child Care Resources, you land here on the homepage. In order to access the goal setting and performance review materials, you go to Successful Program Management, this fourth tab over. Scroll down to Becoming an HR Expert. And then over here on this left-hand side, you can see the breakdown of that. And you'll see goals listed here. And then at the very bottom, performance appraisals. So I'm gonna click goals first. And there's a goal setting form. It kind of gives you the rundown of how to utilize the form, but then when you click on the goal setting form, it comes out as a Word document, and it gives you further instruction on how to utilize this specific tool. So it gives you a page of how to fill out the goal setting document and how to use it to actually attain those goals. And then you'll see here, you can edit this however you want for whatever team member you're working with, or if you're creating one for yourself. And you can put your goal here, how that goal will be measured, and then what steps will be taken in order to attain that goal. So maybe the goal is, I mean, every child care educator needs to have 12 clock hour credits. So it could be a goal of earning all of those credits before a certain time. How will that be measured? By meeting those guidelines by that certain time. And how will that be carried out? So having a list of the trainings that are that staff member is planning to attend, and so on. The time frame, however long that goal is through, and then any comments made. And the goals don't have to be clock hour related. They can be different goals, whether it's something in that person's particular classroom. So maybe their goal is to have a more organized lesson plan binder or something like that. And that goal will be measured by so on and so forth. Okay, so that is the goal sheet that can be utilized in order to kind of list out the goals and how they'll be attained. And then I'm going to go ahead and minimize this, get back into the site and click performance appraisals. Before I click this, does anybody have any questions about that document I just had up for goal setting? All right. I'll go ahead, click performance appraisals. Oh, I've got someone in the waiting room. So then in performance appraisals, it goes through particular positions. I'm just going to click the general template here. And again, it comes as a Word document. Lee, I'm not able to hear you. Hold on just a moment.
Okay, I'm there.
Oh, hi, Lee. So I am recording this. I know you kind of missed the beginning portion of it.
Okay.
Whenever we're finished, I can email you the recording, okay?
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this is the performance appraisal template. And similar to the goal setting template, it has the instructions on that first page. And then moving down, it has the specific layout of the performance appraisal. So the staff member's name, who's doing the performance appraisal, what's being evaluated. So this is the very generic template where everything has to be inserted by the reviewer. I'm gonna go back. Whoop, not there, here. And I'm gonna click teacher. I'm gonna show you what that one looks like. Sections here for that position. Has the rating scale, and then it goes through and breaks down specific components of that position, or really any position this would apply to. And then further down, if that employee has specific goals, they can be listed here. Any comments that need to be made, the job responsibilities, strengths that are recognized in the staff member, opportunities for improvement, if any training is needed, and then recommended actions. All right. And you can enable editing and do whatever you need to make it fit your program and that particular staff member. All right, so as far as those two components go, does anyone have any questions? All right. I know, Jessica, you had reached out with some questions. Do you want to go ahead and pose those to the group and see if they have any feedback?
Sure. So I run a center. I'm technically the assistant director, but I'm getting ready to transition into the director role. And one of the things that I would love to do and have done previously in other career paths is doing a lot of performance appraisals as well as regular coaching sessions, even to just kind of like do touch bases. And one of the things that I'm struggling with in this role, and since I've been here for about 1.5 years, is due to staffing and our ratio requirements, being able to free my teachers up to be able to do that so that I can pull them out of a classroom. I have a hard enough time getting us to have a staff meeting where I can get everybody there, let alone trying to get them in the middle of the day when we're trying to barely cover lunches and, you know, we're right at ratio in some classrooms, or we're robbing Peter to pay Paul. So I just thought I'd see if anyone else had any ideas or any strategies they use to help try and make that happen.
Donna, Lee, do you have any feedback?
So specifically, what is your specific question?
So trying to find the time per se. And maybe it's just our center, I think, but I've heard from a lot of other centers that keeping our classes manned versus having that extra time to pull somebody out of a classroom for a 15-20 minute conversation to just talk about the positive. I mean, it's hard enough when I need to pull them out to do a warning or a write-up, let alone pull them out to come in and do a coaching session that is positive and talks to them about how well they're doing and sees what their goals are and where they want to go with it. I'm just trying to see if other people have successful tactics in making that happen.
And I understand that we're talking about performance appraisals and having the time to review or to reconnect over the plan for them. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the regular day, in my centers, unless you have some extra staffing, it just don't happen.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there have been in my center. I've been fortunate at times to have extra staff person or maybe switch some people around because I know that this day I'm going to be doing performance appraisals, and I may ask another person to come in earlier or to come in or to stay later so that I can cover that space of time. Other than that, we've done weekends, and if I meet on weekends, we of course it's a paid weekend, and we have staff meetings on weekends also, so it was easy to do performance appraisal because the person is already on site and either before or after the staff meeting.
How do you handle that with overtime pay?
Well, we did have to pay them, or we gave them compensation time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not, so, oh, go ahead, Donna.
I run into the same problem. At the beginning of the pandemic, when we had so much extra staff around, it was easy to do the coaching and everything. But now I'm at that same point. Yeah, I want to pull my 2-year-old teachers in now and talk to them, but I can't because I'm at a point right now that I just don't have the extra staff.
Mhm.
So the only other thing I can think of is while the children are down, if you can go into the classroom and sit with the teacher. Yeah, that's the only thing that I can think of.
Yeah, Donna, that's what I
And
was
I've-
going to say is.
I've done that a
an
couple
opportunity.
times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've done that. Unfortunately, we have 3 of our classrooms where I need to have the most coaching done. Go figure. Are the ones that we can't do. They have to have 2 people in there at all times
Mhm.
because of the
Mhm.
age,
Mhm.
and they have half walls between them. So 3
Right.
classrooms that are all next to each other, and so it's really, that's where I've been struggling the most. The
And you
others,
want that privacy.
and you don't get you don't have any privacy to have a conversation. I can barely go in there and ask them if they can stay late without everybody putting their little nose in there and saying,
Mhm.
"Ooh, why don't you ask me to stay late?" And I'm like, "Because you never do." So, okay. Well, when we've talked about doing staff meetings via Zoom, and doing them in the evening, so after children would have gone to bed, and having a staff meeting from like 8 to 9, and knowing that that's not super late in the night, but also, not when kids are up, because our other issue has been traditionally in the past, we have them after hours, and then we have to provide childcare. So now not only do I have to plan a staff meeting, feed them, pay them, I have to find somebody to
To
watch
take
the
care of their
kids and
children.
pay them too. And so it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
So if you're doing Zoom meetings, do you have to pay your staff for that after hours?
I would think so.
I would too, 'cause-
I'm going to talk to my director and see my current director, who's our owner, and try and talk her into it and see if we can get away with, because it's non-work hours. It's not
Mhm.
working in the classroom. It would just be an additional hour on their paycheck as opposed to putting them potentially into overtime.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
that's something I've got to look into.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
But
definitely hard when you're short-staffed and with the
But-
privacy issue to have conversations, even positive, because you don't necessarily want your other staff members to hear the positive things you're saying about someone else. If you're not telling them, then they're thinking, well, why isn't she saying that to me? Or,
Right. Or if you're trying to, you praise them on overcoming an obstacle that was a privacy issue.
mhm.
Then you
Yep.
can't sit there and go, oh, you've done a really great job improving your attendance issues from
Mhm.
55% to 75%. They're still not 100% perfect, but the person next door is at 100% or 95%. And they're like, so they're getting praised for coming to work on time or regularly at 75%, and I'm busting my butt. It turns into a lot of drama when we
Mhm.
try and have any kind of privacy conversations out
Yeah.
and about.
Yep. Yeah. All
I
right.
agree.
Jessica, was that covering both of the questions you had? I couldn't remember that second one.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it really was the biggest issue that I've been trying to like wrap my head around, is trying to figure out how to find that time. I was on another conference call not an hour ago, and they were like, one of the biggest things you can do to improve your business is make sure you're having regular touch bases and performance development meetings with your staff. And I was looking at that person going,
How?
but you work in a different kind of environment. She
Mhm.
works in like a Head Start environment where they get days off and they get this and they get that. And I was like, you're not running a 5-day a week, 12-hour a day operation on shoestring budgets for the most part. So it was good information, but it was really frustrating that was how they framed it, as being, you can do it. You can totally do it. My director has 300 kids and we have a massive waiting list, and she still sits down and has a heart-to-heart touch base with every single employee. And I wanted to be like, I might sit down with them every month, at least for 5 or 10 minutes, but that's because I'm usually having to talk to them about something they did.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And I want to get away from that. I want to
Yeah.
get back to praising.
Mm-hmm.
but one strategy that is kind of, I guess I would call it, kind of out of the box a little bit, but your staff has been with you for a long time, and you know them pretty well. And even if they haven't been with you for a long time, a 10-minute conversation 3 times a week or 5 times a month is equivalent to, an hour conversation, in a meeting. And so, being intentional and being specific on what aspect of a person's performance you want to address, you can do it in 10 minutes. And cumulatively over time, those 10-minute meetings not only give you the information that you need or want to convey over time, but it gives also time to process. It gives also a sense of caring about the staff person because you're taking the time to meet them on a regular basis, for 10 minutes. So, sometimes we have to think out of the box a little bit and do things a little bit differently. And probably in some cases, we might even get a better result because your staff want to know that you're that you really care about them. And the one way that you can show that you care about them is to keep talking to them, and not just on performance times, but when every three to 4 times a week, just 7 to 10 minutes, and that's a powerful to me.
And I'm not sure exactly the professional level of this, but if it would be an option to like implement like a text praise system where you're able to text your employees and say, hey, this is Jessica. Just wanted to like let you know I really noticed you've been working on XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That way it's not necessarily a sit down conversation, but it is recognition that you see what they're doing and the steps they're making.
The other thing you can do is
It's hard to find.
you can take it and you can video yourself on a Zoom call and tell them and give them the link. Let them go and listen to the Zoom call to them, and if you want a response back, then you can give them a way to respond back if you like. But for 10 minutes, and unless you're asking for feedback, this is 7 to 10 minutes where you can convey a message to them of what you want to see happen in that classroom or for that group. It's just just a touch base thing. I heard you say earlier, a touch base thing. And we can keep touching bases, that's for sure. No matter how busy we are in our centers, we have to keep touching bases.
Yeah, we do. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, unless you guys have anything else you want to bring up, that kind of wraps up what I have. But if you have any questions either about this or any other part of the site, please just let me know, okay?
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day,
you.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.